I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of people that have never voted for that are going to cast their ballot. That's what I'm hearing on the street.
We've been working for 8 or 9 months, and we've identified many, many voters right across the city, and now the challenge becomes to make sure that they vote on Monday.
We can make sure that we have a better city where everyone counts, that we should vote based on hope and not fear.
The final push is on. There are 3 frontrunners in the Toronto election hitting the streets and talking to the media to make their last pitch to voters. It has been a hotly contested race, of course, that really started about a year ago. We're back with round 2 of the Sunday Scrum. Susan Riley and Rosemary Barton are in Ottawa. Jamie Watt is here in Toronto. I guess I should mention the 3 candidates. I think a lot of people know who they are, but I should mention them: Olivia Chow, John Tory, and Doug Ford. So, Jamie, since you are here in Toronto and you get to vote here in Toronto, why don't we start with you? It certainly has been tumultuous. It's been long. What are your thoughts looking ahead to tomorrow about what this campaign has been and what it's meant to the city, what it's meant to the country?
I think tomorrow Toronto is going to push reset on the last 4 years. I've had to make a prediction. I think Mr. Tory is likely to be our next mayor. And I think after, having struggled a couple of times to find his niche and find the right place for him in public life, I think he's found it. I think he has brought his lifetime of experience, his background, his leadership, his calmness, his maturity. Some would even say his boringness is exactly what Torontonians want and are look forward to.
I think that was your nice way of saying he's lost many times before and tomorrow he's going to win.
I think he's going to win big.
I think that's what you were trying to say.
He's going to win big, and I'll tell you one thing I also predict. I predict that the Fords will be forgotten very, very quickly.
All right. Susan, just in terms of maybe you can widen this since you live in Ottawa, and I know you have an election there too, and I'm not trying to focus all on Toronto, but
Mayor Watson, 4 more years.
So uncontroversial.
Yeah, it has been, it has really been the kind of campaign and the kind of situation that's grabbed not just the country's attention, but the world's attention. Do you think it's changed, political discourse in this country for the better, for the worse? What do you think has happened?
No, it's fed the tabloids. Right. I think the Toronto, it's in a way it's too bad that John Tory is so boring, but I totally understand Toronto's impulse in going for him. I think Olivia Chow would probably be a better mayor, but I don't think it doesn't look like she's going to win. And I think the problem is that she doesn't have the human touch. At least she can't convey it publicly. I think when you're going to be the leader of as large a city and diverse a city as Toronto, you need to connect at a human level. You have to have a big personality. Look at who they've had before: John Sewell, David Crombie, going way back, Mel Lastman. They've had some really larger-than-life people. John Tory isn't exactly in that category. It seems like he's the old Toronto reasserting itself, moneyed, white, comes from a big law firm background, against Olivia Chow, the new Toronto, who by rights should really win, but perhaps didn't just have that emotional connection with the electorate to break through.
I also think she just had a rotten campaign. It was really... it's sort of disappointing that she wasn't sort of... that it didn't take off better. They tried to launch her with the book and put her forward, and I just think there was a lot of struggling with the campaign. I'm not sure that it was the best campaign that she could have done. Mm-hmm. I, for one, feel like totally relieved that this is going to be over because it was all...
You don't live in this city.
I know, but it was so all-consuming for everyone. There were like 150 debates. It was verging on ridiculous most of the time. Yeah. So for this to be over, for you guys to have someone new, whoever it ends up being, and you can sort of get on with business and with life, I think is going to be hugely really good for the city and for the country, because Toronto is so important to the rest of us. And just one more thing. I will say on Olivia Chow, I will be very interested, as someone that covers the NDP, to see what happens to her next.
Because there's an opportunity, right, Rosie, with redistribution. She could end up running in one of the new downtown ridings. I think
there's a lot of love for her here, right, in that party. So I don't know if she has an inclination to come back if she loses tomorrow or what, but I think that's going to be an interesting story going forward.
All right, Jamie, what's at stake for the city, for the country? Rosie's saying whoever wins tomorrow. What if Doug Ford wins tomorrow?
Well, I think there's a lot at stake because this country, this city is important to this country in so many different ways. It's important economically. It's the entry port for many people coming from other parts of the world to become Canadians. There's all kinds of things that make it important. I think we've really had 4 lost years, and I don't really think we can, we didn't tread water for those 4 years. We fell behind for those 4 years. So I think we better get someone who can get to that mayor's desk ASAP and get things put back together again.
It was lovely chatting with you on this Sunday morning after what was obviously a challenging week for everyone in Ottawa. But thank you. Thank you all very much.
Okay, thanks.
Rosemary Barton in Ottawa, Susan Riley in Ottawa, Jamie Watt here in Toronto. And anytime, if you want to join the conversation, send me a tweet at AndrewCBC using the hashtag SundayScrum. And we'll be sharing some of your thoughts a little later.